With the evolution of COVID and all the crazy things happening in the world right now, there has never been more of a push to get a PC than right this moment. There's a lot of people spending boatloads of money on the best of the best gear, and there are also places like Micro Center selling out of CPUs and other PC components by the day. For example, Jays2Cents said in his last video that the Micro Center by him is selling over 100 CPUs a day. This means that there's going to be a ton of people looking to make the switch to keyboard and mouse if they haven't already. This is where I come in to give you guys everything you need to know to make the switch as smooth and as good as possible. For everyone who doesn't know, ItchJerry made a similar video to this topic, but it was so long ago, back in December of 2019, so I decided to remake this video since we're in a completely new season and a lot of things have changed since then. Quick backstory is that I was playing on controller when the game was released, and I switched to keyboard and mouse back in season 5 when I built my PC in 2018. I have almost 2 years of experience not only playing on keyboard and mouse, but watching pros play professionally since day one. So although I'm not overly qualified to talk about this topic, I do believe that I know more than the average person to help you guys out. I was in the same shoes as all the people who had successfully made the switch since Fortnite was the first keyboard and mouse game I ever played. For the most part, this game taught me everything I know about movement, aiming, and mechanics in video games on keyboard and mouse. I bring these skills to every new game I know, which is one of the reasons why I have the ability to pick up any game and get good faster than most players, because I understand what works for me. This is something that everyone watching this video needs to understand. We need to get rid of this myth that there are some god settings that exist which turn any player cracked. That's simply just not the case anymore. The only thing that makes a player cracked is their ability to remember their binds so well that they eventually turn into a professional at the game because their mechanics are so good. This develops over a long period of time though. Game sense is another story, but for right now I'm not including that in the equation. I can guarantee most people who make the switch to keyboard and mouse have no idea where to begin, no idea what to practice, or what their bind should look like when they start. So if your goal is to create the most optimal keybinds, it should be a simple task, but for some people who have no idea what they're doing, it's going to be pretty difficult. I'm going to assume that most people watching this aren't very good at pressing certain buttons on the keyboard, so I'm going to quickly mention all the buttons that are extremely important for you to get better at pressing. Some of these buttons were very difficult for me to remember and press because, like I said, this was my first game on keyboard and mouse. T, G, C, Control, Left, Alt, Shift, and numbers 1 through 5 on the keyboard are not only important for Fortnite, but are used in every other first-person shooter. I don't need to mention the buttons that are closer to WASD because those go without say. I just want to mention that even me, a player with a lot of experience, I still don't use Z and X in any game unless it's a default keybind that I can't change. Personally, the biggest struggle for me was learning 1 through 5 on the keyboard. A quick tip I have is that you should use Tab instead of using 1 and get used to pressing the other ones throughout your practice on Fortnite. So pretty much what I'm saying is 1 is not extremely important, but you do want to learn it later on down the road. I played other games that were slower pace to get better at pressing 1. That way I never left it out when I went to another game. Even though I didn't like it and it took me a little longer than most people, I forced myself to learn certain keybinds because I knew they were crucial. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean you shouldn't learn it, or just because it's not comfortable for you doesn't mean that you shouldn't practice to get better at it. Another thing I need to clear up is that you should never think that you're going to be cracked just because you copied Clix's keybinds and sensitivity. A better thing to do is to copy their settings exactly and modify them to your liking. I strongly believe that a lot of Fortnite players think that the best settings come from pros only. Everyone struggles and excels in different things when pressing certain buttons on a keyboard, so that is why there are so many different variations of professional settings out there for you guys to copy. A good thing is to be unique and come up with your own style, just like me. I'm not saying I'm a pro, by the way, because I'm not. If you were a pro, you would already understand which buttons you need to bind close to WASD and which buttons and actions you need to bind further away from WASD. With that being said, I know that a lot of people are going to ask for my binds. I'm not going to give you my binds exactly, but I'm going to recommend what I think are the best keybinds for keyboard and mouse players in Chapter 2 Season 4 right now. For editing, there's 2 options, but I'm going to choose E because it's closer to WASD and it's easier for new people to spam than the second option, which is F. For 99% of pros out there right now, if they have a normal keyboard position, they use E or F to edit. These are 2 of the best edit keys to date. Just don't forget to put scroll wheel reset on by adding scroll wheel up or down to your second edit keybind. Next, go to settings and turn on sprint by default and put your cone to left shift since you freed up that key by turning on that setting. I would also put your interact to either scroll wheel up or down depending on what you put your reset one to, because this gives you the best chance to get the gun first in any situation unless both people have it applied and you're spamming it at the same time. Next, put your stair and wall to mouse button 4 and 5, and it has to be both of those. Your wall or stair could be either 4 or 5, but it's really important to put it on your mouse when you're starting out. down. These are the two most important pieces to press, and when starting out in Fortnite, these builds are essential, and putting it on the easiest buttons you can possibly add, which is your mouse, it will help you a lot. Like I said, it doesn't matter which one is what, but those builds should always be on your mouse unless you're doing double or triple edit binds. Since this video is from the most optimal keybinds, we aren't going to be using double edit binds or triple edit binds. Next, I would recommend putting your floor to Q and putting your pickaxe to left alt. The whole goal of building keybinds is to have them on separate fingers so you can press them faster. Not only that, but these keybinds won't take your fingers off WASD, and especially the W key button, which is essential for Fortnite. One very important trick I need to mention before I forget is that personally, if you want to have more consistent weapon keybinds, you should not use 1 through 5 for your weapons. This is kind of generalizing, but I believe it to be a little true. When you start out for the first time on keyboard and mouse, it's going to be a struggle to remember where 1, 4, and 5 are on the keyboard. 2 is right above W, so it's not as complicated, and 3, all you have to do is tilt your wrist to the left just a little bit to press it with your pointer finger. I would try to take 2 to 3 weapon keybinds off the numbers 1 through 5 on your keyboard, and to replace those, I would use tab instead of 1, then X or C for weapon slot 4. This makes it so there is now a big gap between 3 and 5 that will help you mentally remember where the buttons are. Finishing up, what you want to do is put your cursor mode on G, which allows you to take out your inventory, and when you let go of it, it will disappear. This is something I like more because when I press the button and let go, that's when it disappears, and it doesn't stay on my screen until I move or do another action. I would leave my map on M. Personally, I put push to talk on caps lock, and I would put my trap to 4 on the keyboard. Once you figure out what keybind you want on your keyboard and what you feel comfortable with, then it's time to get to grinding and actually getting better. I remember when I started, there was no such thing as creative, and there was no way I was going to be able to practice editing and building and doing all these particular movements when I started out on the game. I had to mostly practice in real games, and I had playgrounds, but that just wasn't the same. You guys have a plethora and unlimited amount of maps to practice that will help you get really good at the game, and I would recommend probably spending at least 30 to 40 minutes doing those, and then spending another hour and an hour and a half maybe. You can get away with 30 minutes if you want to in creative, just learning how to free build and practicing all the building and editing while you're actually moving and doing it by yourself. Try learning different new high ground retakes to help you get better with movement. Work on your tunneling because that is a huge part of this game at the moment. From there, I would hop into a Discord and find people that you can box fight. I know Atlantis Scrims has Discords for EU, West, and East servers as well. I'm not so sure about African servers, but you guys will be able to box fight people that are going to be way better than you. Playing against people who are better than you is going to be really good for you, but at the same time, it's going to make you frustrated, so keep a limit to how much you do that. I'm going to leave the best tips and tricks videos I've made down below in the description, so if you guys want to learn specific things about what to practice, that will be all laid out there for you. Before I forget to mention confirm edit on release, I want to mention my side and my thinking about it. The way I see it is that confirm edit on release is not the best thing for most people. If you're starting out and you're kind of new to the game, it might be worth giving a shot, and it's definitely going to make the transition easier for you to play on. But the thing is, I think it's more beneficial to be able to time your edits and hold them from far away, because it will help you with piece control and just being able to take protected peek shots better. There are times when I'm in a box fight and I'm making a top corner edit and I drag my cursor down just a little too much, and it causes me to screw up the whole edit, and therefore I won't be able to get a shot on the guy. Also, there are times in scrims where you're trying to peek through cones, or you're trying to just be really methodical about the edits you're doing, and it screws up because of edit on release. In my opinion, I find it better to not use confirm edit on release. This is a very controversial topic, so you guys should try it out for yourself, and I would recommend doing that. But just know that I don't like it. I'm not here to force you guys to think a certain way. I'm here to explain to you what my process of thinking is. That way you can develop your own ideas and create a new style of thinking that's going to help you get more cracked at any game you play. If you guys made it this far in the video, make sure you drop a smiley face down in the comment section, and I'll promise I'll look at your comment and probably reply back. Don't forget, if you guys have any questions about anything we talked about during this video, feel free to stop by on my Twitch channel, link below in the description. Besides YouTube, the best place to find me is my Twitch channel. Don't forget that I have a community Discord with PC related questions and Fortnite related questions, or you can even just talk to me every day in the Discord. So feel free to join that down below. Lastly, I just want to mention that I just want to thank all of you guys who have always hit the like button every time I post a video. Shout out to the Noti gang. I appreciate all you so much. You have no idea. This is my dream to do stuff like this. If you guys want to support me even further than you already have, feel free to use my creator code KenBeans in the item shop the next time you buy something, and show me proof so I can come thank you on Instagram or Twitter. I'll talk to you guys in the next video, so I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or a good night. Deuces everyone. Peace.